Welcome to the Soul Archaeology podcast, a space for connection, resonance, witnessing, and learning. Together we'll harvest medicine from the spiral of life, sharing conversations with other embodied humans who have navigated their own initiations and found alignment with their true soul essence. With weekly astrology, energy updates, embodied conversation, and channeled teachings, this is a space for you to land and find resonance with the spiral of your own soul. Welcome back to Soul Archaeology. What a time to be alive. We're in such deep, radical change. This week has been deeply transformative for the United States, knowing that so many of our policies and really the health of our country impacts so much of the collective, so much of the global geopolitical climate, and just collective energetic climate. One of the things that I notice most while sort of tuning in and rooting and grounding this week, tuning into social media, tuning into the collective frequency, is how heavy the frequency of fear is and division. And it really makes sense, right? We have two opposing sides who are afraid, who are fearing that they are losing either their rights, they're losing control, they're losing something or some things that feel vital to them. And it has been very apparent to me over the last, especially few years, how divided and separated we've really become. This astrological weather, this climate is stretching us. It's pulling us and stretching us and asking for us to reckon with our fear of change, our fear of growth, our fear of the unknown. It's pulling on us and stretching us in ways that can be so uncomfortable. It's forcing us to reckon with and deepen into our psyche in areas and topics that are unprecedented. This is a very stretchy time. And as we know, the growth trajectory, the path of evolution is a series of stretching, expanding, and then contracting. So we push out a little further each time on our walls of comfort and familiarity. We stretch. We enter into the unknown. We begin to familiarize ourselves with what it's like to not know what's beyond the veil. And then we sort of naturally pull in to reassess, to regroup, to reckon with our fears of change, to realign with our values, to deepen into what feels resourcing, familiar, safe, grounding. And in so many ways, I see this as the two sides of the political spectrum as well. Both sides are reckoning with change. We have these periods of navigating uncharted territory to try to figure out how we navigate this space, how we meet the needs of a very diverse collective, creating policies and making decisions for the greater good, and then pulling back in, resourcing, regrounding, regrouping, evaluating if those decisions were the best decisions. And so we have these two poles pulling on each other, stretching each other, forcing each other to grow, to evolve, to shift. And all we can do is go deeper into ourselves, to evaluate, to reckon with our relationship with change, our relationship with the unfamiliar, to challenge the spaces and places within us that feel stuck and stagnant, fixed, afraid, to recenter and reground ourselves in our values, in our faith, in our humanity. And when we zoom way out, we begin to see that these are the natural processes of growth and evolution. We stretch and we contract, always moving forward, even though it might not feel like we are. I'm always seeking to merge the eagle's eye perspective, the zoomed out perspective, with the perspective of rooting and grounding in the present. And I think that's so much of what this time is about. It's about keeping the eagle's eye perspective while being present with what's moving through you, knowing that this great shift that we're in is impacting everyone differently. Honoring that and tending to our own internal landscape so that we may be anchors for those whose lives are being impacted more deeply, which of course requires this radical self-awareness, this radical embodiment, this ability to find our center amidst the chaos, amidst the storm. And that really is the journey of now. Putting on our own life vest before we dive in to save others. Rooting, grounding, orienting, anchoring before we project our inner landscape onto the world. I'm seeing so much fear circulating, and I can truly honor that fear. But it's so important to tend to the parts of us that are activated before we project. Spreading fear only creates more chaos. We create healing change and transformation when we respond from a space of regulation. And that space doesn't have to be without passion. It just means that we've taken the time to tend to what's activated within us internally, to ensure that we're moving from our higher self, our adult self, rather than the inner child that sees things as black and white, good or bad. Our answers are found in the gray. They're found in the in-between spaces where we're able to hold nuance with stable hands. I've had so many beautiful conversations with people over the last few weeks and really diving into and getting to know where their perspective comes from, where their perspectives are formed and shaped through their lived experiences. And the only way through this portal of time is to enter into the gray, to explore the in-between space, to ask questions with an open heart, and to tend to our own personal biases, judgments, projections, fears, and programs. I feel that this is such an expansive time. It's a time of real, true, radical growth as individuals and as a collective. There's so much powerful material to work through if we decide to lean in. But we're in this astrological threshold energy. We're leaving one age behind. This very Capricorn hierarchical age of the guru, the celebrity, the person who holds all of the money, the power, the wisdom at the top. We're dissolving these pedestals. We're examining where we give our power away, where we seek to be saved, where we drop into victim consciousness, so that we may take the reins of our lives, create this unified framework of collective connection, rebuilding new communities, new systems that work for all rather than just a few. This is moving from the Piscean age to the Aquarian age. It's leaving behind these old systems. It's watching them die and tending to the fear of what's ahead without knowing what's in front of us. We're in the end of times and the beginning of times. We're moving from one world to a new world. This is a messy space. As I mentioned in the last episode, we're midwives and death doulas at the same time. We're being asked to reckon with our own values as we navigate unprecedented, uncharted territory. It's extremely deep work that requires resilience and strength, self-awareness, and courage. On November 7th, we had Mercury entering its shadow period. It stations retrograde on the 25th of November. So we're moving, it's beginning to slow down, and it's beginning to move into the space that will navigate during its retrograde period. Mercury in Sagittarius seeks to expand our beliefs, to challenge our dogmas, our internal programs that keep us fixed. This Mercury retrograde will ask for us to evaluate our belief systems, where we source information. Sagittarius is the higher mind. It's the spiritual mind. It seeks to expand consciousness, to gain a wider perspective outside of our own echo chamber that's been shaped by our experiences, by our communities, and by our subconscious. This week is sobering. We've had so much fast energy moving and swirling around. We've been stretched and pulled, challenged. We've had a lot of fire and passion. And this week receives some grounding, some earthly support from Venus entering Capricorn on November 11th and Saturn moving direct on the 15th, along with a full moon in Taurus on the 15th. This is a sobering time. This is a time to move from passion and fantasy, illusion, into practicality, self-realization, self-responsibility, self-reflection. Venus has been moving from Libra to Scorpio to Sagittarius, and now it lands in the sobering practicality of Capricorn. And Venus in Capricorn is all about growth. It's about maturation, rooting and grounding into reality, commitment, responsibility, loyalty. It's grounding, rooting, and orienting. It's highlighting where we need to seek personal responsibility, where we need to move from victim consciousness to self-actualization, empowerment, direction, and focus. And Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, so we have the support of Saturn this week as it goes direct in Pisces as well to dissolve illusion, to let go of where we fall into the trap of victim consciousness, of believing that we are disempowered. And I say victim consciousness with love. I did a whole episode on victim consciousness because it's such a major theme of the times with Chiron in Aries, with Saturn in Pisces. It's really revealing where we collapse, where we feel that we are powerless, where we let go of self-responsibility due to fear. And it invites us into a space of sovereignty, agency, direction, purpose. Saturn is maturation. It's dissolving the veil of illusion that tells us we have no control, that we have no power, that we must surrender our power to another, to a belief, to a group, to a leader. Sometimes when we feel activated, we move into this space of helplessness. It's almost wired into our nervous system. It's a primal process. I really invite you to go back to the episode on victim consciousness, episode 29 of this podcast, because it really breaks down the process of victim consciousness, how we can move beyond it, how we can transcend it, and how we can reclaim our inner flame, our fire, our resourced adult self, our higher self. And these thresholds really always invite us into that opportunity. They give us an activation. They stretch and pull us in ways that feel so uncomfortable. They challenge our beliefs. They force us into spaces and places that we're not familiar with, to grow and evolve through it, to recenter and realign in a deeper way, to grow and expand our consciousness in the process, to become more loving, more kind, more self-aware, more expanded, and to fully integrate our power so that the next time this comes around, it won't feel as activating. I had a few people reach out this week who said that they were amazed by how they navigated this week, how different this time felt for them versus how they felt in 2016, how they were able to be with themselves, stay centered as they navigated disappointment and loss and fear. And these are clients I've been working with for a few months, for even a few years. And it's really beautiful to see the transformation, how they're navigating what feels like a storm for them. This time that feels quite tumultuous for so many people. And this is truly the work of becoming more resilient, more resourced, more grounded, so that we may withstand these storms, knowing that we all experience different kinds of storms at different times, but are able to stay anchored to self. So as Venus, the planet of love and values, resources, moves into Capricorn, we're going to be asked to reckon with something within our relationships, our relationship to self, our resources, our values, to accept full radical self-responsibility for our lives, for how we interact with life. On the 15th of November, Saturn goes direct in Pisces. And like I said, this is also sobering. It's asking for radical responsibility, taking the time to look back over the last 6 months as Saturn's been retrograding through Pisces, what we've learned, where we've had opportunities to mature, to grow, to transcend fear, releasing victim consciousness or savior consciousness, releasing the illusion that we are powerless, and encouraging us to take the reins of our lives, to stay present with the physical, with what is, with what's true here and now. As Saturn stations direct this week, it's pretty significant because we have Pluto moving from Capricorn into Aquarius on the 19th. And both of these signs are ruled by Saturn in traditional astrology. So there's certainly this theme around Saturn, this Saturnian vibe around maturation, the masculine, dissolving the spaces where we create the illusion that we are stuck, that we are stagnant, that we are victims, and reclaiming our power, reclaiming our sovereignty, our agency. Whenever I'm sort of picturing the ideal state, I always picture it as a strong, straight spine with boundaries, self-awareness, and an open heart. Saturn is physicality. It's the physical plane. It's the material plane. It's lead. It's density. Where are you resisting being an alchemist? Where are you feeling that you can't transform the lead, the density, to light, to gold? This is the stickiness. This is what we're navigating. We must mature through these thresholds. We must remember our power and transcend our fear. Where are you waiting to be saved by someone? Or where do you feel that you must be the savior? Wherever you have Pisces in your chart, Saturn will be initiating something, inviting something, gifting you something, a realization, an opportunity to step more into your power, more into your truth, to strip away illusion, to help you actualize or materialize something within your life. And then, of course, we have the full moon in Taurus on that same day. So in the morning, Saturn stations direct on the 15th. And then at 1:28 p.m. Pacific, we have a full moon in Taurus. And this full moon is at 24 degrees Taurus. So it's helpful to look at where you have placements at 24 degrees of any fixed sign, between 20 and 28 degrees of Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, or Aquarius. You will feel this moon most, because this moon will either be squaring or opposing or conjoining with your natal placement that you have at those degrees. This moon is conjunct Uranus, the planet of change and transformation, the great disruptor. Uranus is asking for us to shift somewhere we are fixed within our lives as it's been navigating Taurus. to reimagine, to consider what's beyond our comfort zone. So as the sun in deep, penetrating, transformative Scorpio shines a light on Taurus, where the moon and Uranus lie, it's illuminating where we are stuck, where we're fixed, where change is needed. Taurus is safety, security, resources, self-worth. It's fixed earth. It's the rooted oak tree. It seeks slowness, presence, consistency, familiarity, rootedness. It's looking for deep, deep roots. The sun in Scorpio and Uranus in Taurus are demanding change. They're pushing us to transform, to evolve in some way, to let go of what's fixed within us. Where are we fixed in our beliefs? Where are we afraid to change, to challenge something that's been part of us? And this is also a bit of a sobering moon, paired with Saturn as it stations direct in Pisces. It's bringing us and rooting us and grounding us back into the physical. It's forcing us out of the illusions, out of the fantasies, and into what's real, what's present, what's right in front of us. It's highlighting our values. And this moon is really also about building capacity, strengthening what fortifies us, investing in what fortifies us, our resources, and anchoring and rooting peace, even amidst chaos. The earth is Taurus's main teacher. It seeks peace and regulation, slowness within the physical plane, the body and the greater body, the earth. This is a time to feel your humanness, to feel your physicality, to put your hands in the earth, feel the heartbeat of the earth through your feet. This is what's real. It's real, it's rooted, it's grounded, it's alive. Place your hands on your body. This is real. When we are present, we are able to actually connect with what's safe and true within us. As I mentioned last week, the earth is deeply regulating. When we connect with her, we realize that everything is always moving in cycles. She's always changing. She's living, breathing, dying, composting, growing new. This is true. This is orienting. This is what we can ground into this month. This is where we find our peace in presence. Although Taurus is fixed, its evolutionary purpose is to reckon with change, to find peace within the body, within the physicality, amidst chaos, amidst change, amidst uncertainty, to find presence and safety in what's real, here and now. The tactility of life, of beauty, of pleasure. We are not here to transcend the body. We're here to deepen into it, to bring it with us through our evolutionary thresholds, to help it evolve. We came to Earth to experience it, the tactility of it, the joy, the fear, the despair, the love, the pleasure. We came here to taste things, to pause and really taste things. To move slowly, to really chew our food, to taste things, to experience the pleasure and joy in simply being alive. When we're present, not only does it create more pleasure, it also connects us with our deeply encoded signals of safety, the buttons that we can press that say it's safe to be here now. This is the light or the opportunity within Taurus. The shadow that this moon could illuminate within us is where we seek safety out of fear, where we remain narrow-minded, stubborn, and fixed because we're afraid of change. We can find comfort only when we accept change. It's inevitable. Gripping to what's familiar, fixed, clear, and certain only leaves us stagnant. This moon is helping us to fortify amidst chaos and change. How can we find comfort and safety even when the ground is shaking beneath us? Do we derail when things don't go as planned? This moon is asking for radical embodiment, the process of finding your center point. In the eye of a storm, this will be further illuminated as Mercury stations retrograde in Sag on the 25th. It'll really show us where we hold fixed beliefs, dogmas, where we have space to grow and evolve past our familiar walls of comfort, where we can step further into that space of nuance while holding our bodies along the way. And Taurus is about self-reliance and inner stability. It grows deep roots so that it may support others and create an ecosystem of love, compassion, stability, rather than fear. What ecosystem are you creating? And as we navigate Scorpio season, this axis highlights our relationship with change and stability. Taurus is stability. Scorpio is change and transformation. When we can find our center point and our sense of self through these change portals, that is the greatest work. This is an invitation to shed what's keeping us stuck in old versions of self. Are we rooting in our ego? Are we creating walls out of fear? Are we staying stuck in what we believe to be true? Or leaving ample space for change and transformation to take root within our inner landscape? I recently saw something someone posted online. Of course, I did not remember who posted it, but it says, be teachable. You don't know everything and you're not always right. This is the journey of Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. It's important to challenge our own beliefs, to stay open. During this time of awakening, when we face unprecedented and uncharted territory, it's important to stay open. This time is challenging all of our comfort zones. The subconscious automatically defaults to what is familiar. It seeks asylum in what's known. But we grow by challenging this, by pushing up against our walls of comfort and familiarity, by deepening into what's uncomfortable through the portal of the body, the nervous system. This is also the last full week of Pluto in Capricorn. As Saturn, the ruler of both Capricorn and Aquarius, goes direct, this is the time we've been waiting for. When things really start to take shape, they begin to form and materialize. Stay rooted but open. Question your own biases, beliefs, internal dogmas. We can become slaves to our own programs. Even the programs of self-righteousness, the things we believe to be good about us. We can become stuck and tethered to what we believe, whether it's good or bad. This time will be challenging us to go deeper into that. And healthy people do. Healthy people are able to navigate nuance. I encourage you to be wary of those who know everything, who are sure of everything. Our beliefs become programs when we grip so tightly to them that they don't allow us to transform. So this week is an invitation to dig deeper, to root and ground more deeply into the present, into the safety within your own physicality, the earth. If you can't find safety within your body right now, it's okay. Put your back against a tree. Lay on the earth. Let her hold you. Return to your center and your roots as you stay open to transformation, change. This is such a powerful, pivotal, transformative, expansive time. And for many of us, it's a contraction, and that's okay too. But just know that if you are in a contraction, it's a time to face your fears, to reckon with your own internal beliefs. And when it feels right, expand. As we move into next week, we will move into Pluto's transition into Aquarius, its ingress, which will be sure to be a powerful and pivotal week, the end of this month. And as we enter into December, they're very powerful times. I am offering a full moon in Taurus workshop on November 15th at 10 a.m. Pacific. This is via Zoom. I really love hosting these workshops. It's such a beautiful opportunity for us to come together in group, to heal and learn in a group. The beginning is always in sort of like a workshop format. So we're talking about the energetic climate, doing a full energetic download, discussing the transits. I'll talk a lot about the last quarter of 2024, and then we move into a really deep healing journey, working with the subconscious to rewire some of what's surfacing in relation to this full moon, to work with what's illuminated. You can sign up via the link tagged in the show notes of this episode. It will also be in my link on my bio on Instagram as well. The card that I pulled for this episode was very adamant. I pulled out the cards, and before I could even set an intention, the Lion card flew out. And I really wanted to make sure the intention was clear, that it wasn't for me, but it was for the Soul Archaeology community. So I put the card back into the deck, reshuffled it, set the intention, and the Lion card flew out again. So it was very adamant, really wanted to be shared today. And this card is all about justice. It says, Lion is the native ruler of his tribal kingship, the apex predator of his territory. His prominent mane demands authority. His pride is ruled by balance. His message of prudence bellows for all to hear, a clear oracle of justice. He can be heard from miles away, and the force of his sound immortalizes his presence as emperor. Like all great leaders, Lion strives for peace and order within his dominion with quick and decisive ferocity and his own innate grace. Lion is present when justice is required. Hardwired within our DNA is the felt experience of fairness and equity. It is written in our bones. We sense when it's present and when it's missing. This knowing can be obstructed by the interferences of the world, and we might talk ourselves out of speaking truth because of the false perception that our voice doesn't make a difference. Lion invites you to tap into the prevailing potency of his roar when advocating for justice. When it's balanced, prevailing justice, willingness to speak up. When it's imbalanced, there's a fear of disrupting the order of the old guard. To bring into balance, tune into your essential self and envision a deep intellectual cleansing of all opinions living in your awareness. Wow, that card is powerful, and it was truly so clear that it wanted to be expressed and shared today. And that might resonate differently with all of you, but I hope that it lands and helps you activate something that wants to be heard within you. Thank you for being here, for being present, listening to this episode, sharing on Instagram, on social media, sharing with friends. It just means the world. Thank you for showing up each week. I love you all. I'm sending so much love to all of you. I know it's a very intense time. There's so much divisiveness and fear in the field. And I just hope that this episode can help you land within a space of peace and centering within yourself. Have a beautiful week.